Let me tell you about the most controversial ad campaign I ever worked on. It was, I don't know if it's my most successful campaign or what, but it was for Boost Mobile. I was in Australia and we had a campaign which was all around texting. They'd come out with one cent text, and so they wanted to promote the fact that you could text more than ever before. And we came out with this campaign which was all these students, because it was aimed at students, had all these new conditions, which now feels very, very wrong, but it was like textiety. You feel like the anxiety of feeling a text message going off in your pocket, but there's no text message going off. Post-traumatic text disorder, sending a text and going, oh, I wish I hadn't sent that. Textophhrenia, again, thinking you hear a text message. And we had all these pieces. So this was back in, I want to say 2010. And we ended up, I realized the best way, and I was playing strategist and creative on this because we didn't have any creatives in our agency. It was just kind of directors, producers, and in-house, like an in-house shop. And I knew the best way to legitimize this was, could we find an academic who could back up these claims, who could say, yep, this is exactly right, this is true. So we got in touch with a PR agency and they connected us with an academic professor up in Brisbane who was like, yep, this sounds like things I've seen in my research, totally agree. So like, okay, cool. So to launch the campaign, we had like a Facebook site and these videos of these kids admitting to it, and you could admit, and I think you got a discount if you admitted you got one, and it was like a prescription or a certificate. But the main thing was getting all these, we got a PR release to say these new conditions existed around texting, textiety, textophhrenia, post-traumatic text disorder. It went nuts. It was in every single national news. It went too well, you know. It was all over the news, and they were like, every single newspaper was talking about it, saying the names of these new conditions. That all kind of led back to our website of these text disorders. And we were like, oh my God, this is so successful. This has done so well. And then it kind of turned bad. We had one of the biggest media watchdogs, which had like a government TV show called Media Watch, where they pull media scandals out. They ended up doing a whole section on how we had tricked the media into believing that these conditions were real, and how it was really for Boost Mobile, and named our agency and named the PR agency. And then it got into the industry press as well. And this was the time when I was very young in my career and very like social media rules all the way of authenticity and speak up when anything happens. So that one of the major industry boards, they wrote a scathing review of us. And I went in and I decided to write back my response to the work of like, hey, no, this is what we're trying to do. Look, we had good intentions. Worst thing, this message board just gets on there. Everyone's just like, you idiot, what are you talking about? This is the worst idea ever. The PR agency's furious. They're like, what the hell does he think he's doing? Like, you got to pull him in, because I was just like the strategist. They'd called my boss, who was also the founder of this agency. They're like, you got to reel him in. And I got the biggest slapping, my boss was like, what on earth do you think you're doing? And he was happy because we had had this amazing campaign, but at the same time he's like, mate, just don't poke the beast. Don't write on these posts. So it was a really weird feeling because felt like success at the time because I was like, oh, look at all this free PR I got you. But then the response was really bad. Then it went obviously very negative. And I think it was just like, it talks to a time. It was like definitely a different time. This was 2009, where just the internet was just like such a different place, where now you just wouldn't get away with that, or with like misinformation and the way we see mental health now. So it was super controversial for me, and really weird feelings, and kind of realised the importance of that. But I also realised the importance of PR. If you can get PR around your advertising idea, and it's more than just it's an idea that people want to talk about, that's what you really want to be making with advertising, not just ads that people want to turn off.